Happy Veterans Day, my friends. Today's video, I am going to just tell you about a few significant veterans who were an integral part of my career and the success that I had in the United States military, as well as a few civilians who played a role in not only me surviving, or rather making it in my career, but being able to get sober and enjoy life after the Army. Now, I served 20 years in the United States Army. Folks, only 2% of the United States population serves in the United States military that qualify. Only 2% of those make it to retirement of 20 years or more. You may agree or disagree with service in the United States military based off of going to war, and you don't think we should, or whatever that case is. However, we cannot take away from the dedication and professionalism of our brothers and sisters in the profession of arms. So, I have put together a short list of those I can remember that I served with, and it's not to say that they were forgettable. Without further ado, and in no particular order, here we go. John Day, an 11 Charlie who I currently work for, is a person of genuine care and integrity. And I value his service and his advice and the way that he conducts himself in a professional manner on a daily basis. Angela Cafferky. Angela Cafferky was a medic, and I forget of what, in the United States Army. She made it to Master Sergeant, and she is also a person of genuine character and who is true to her word and puts people before herself. Alexis Bockman. Alexis Bockman is a human resources specialist. She, I think, did 3 years, made it out PFC or specialist, I can't quite remember. However, she has a impeccable work ethic, and I enjoy that we get to work together. David Theus. He is one of the most important people that I ever met in my entire career. Now, if I remember correctly, he transferred from infantry to chemical in the United States Army. I became his supervisor. He was not only my friend, but he saved me from myself many, many times, and I enjoyed serving with him downrange as well as in garrison. And he is a person of remarkable integrity as well as character. And I believe that he was a monumental part in what made my career successful. So, hats off to you, David Theus. I hope you see this. Jason Barksdale. I served with him at the 7th Non-Commissioned Officers Academy, and he is a person that we weren't like homies or best friends, but he is very honest and very true, and he cares about the person left and right of him, and I cannot speak any more highly of him, and because they both served together and they did it with honor, and they have become an integral part in Big Army success. My hat's off to them, and I appreciate your friendship and your mentorship, directly and indirectly. Happy Veterans Day. Christopher Mahoney, you are a hero, even if you don't want to admit it. Now, the last that I knew of Christopher Mahoney is that he received the Silver Star as an interim award to the Congressional Medal of Honor for his actions on the battlefield. He is a person that will always put a smile on your face and always place your needs above his. And I think that is something that is invaluable in life, and my hat's off to him, and I wish him and his family well. Happy Veterans Day to you. Christopher Lynch, right there. Denver's not doing too well this year. I think that you're an amazing person. I also served with him at the 7th Non-Commissioned Officer Academy in Grafenwehr, Germany. And I just say happy veterans to you, and I hope that your children and your family are doing well. Jose Porres. I cannot say enough about this first sergeant. If it weren't for him and the belief that he had in me and the potential that he saw, I wouldn't be sitting here today, because I was on the brink of losing my career to alcoholism, and he was one of the few people that gave me another shot. And that goes in line with the next person, Sekia Bailey. Sekia Bailey is a genuine person who always has a smile on her face, and even if she's not happy, she will strive to make other people happy. And I think that proves a lot about who she is, and she shows dedication, and she has a work ethic beyond belief. And I say happy veterans to her and her family, and I hope they are doing well today. Sean Murdoch. Sean Murdoch I served with in, Kotterbach, Germany. Him and Andrew Lopez were supply specialists, and Sergeant First Class, or Master Sergeant Murdoch, was a good friend and a good mentor, and always gave me an honest answer when I needed some feedback about something that I just wasn't sure about. Andrew Lopez was a guy of high energy, and he cared about the people left and right of him, and he never left a fallen comrade. Christopher Jager. First Sergeant Christopher Jager served with 160th SOAR, and I'm telling you what, he was probably the best first sergeant I've ever had in my entire career, because he honestly cared about each and every person that he served with, and he never compromised his integrity. And I find that to be a trait that is hard to come by, and I salute him on this Veterans Day. That goes in with Command Sergeant Major Paul Hutchings, the smoothest dude that I've ever seen in my life, and he worked with little effort, meaning he didn't have to yell, he didn't have to scream. He gave you a certain look and you knew what you had to do, and he was never disrespectful. And I think that is something also hard to come by, and I salute him as well. With Cord Ball, who served with me at the same organization, and he always provided me honest feedback as well. I also salute him for saving my life, because there was a time when I almost killed myself, and he was the person that I called accidentally, and he came to my door and made certain that I was okay before he left. This is the guy that I would never ever forget, and I appreciate him more than he probably knows. Cord Ball, I salute you on this Veterans Day. Captain James Wade. Captain James Wade is an amazing and high energetic commander, and he always put his troops before himself, and he also serves with full integrity and professionalism. And again, I salute him on this Veterans Day. Fankie Swain. Fankie Swain was one of the most animated station commanders that I ever, while I was in U.S. Army Recruiting Command. He placed motivation within you simply by showing up, and he never yelled. He made some animations that said, "Get after it," or "We ain't going home early." Sergeant First Class Fankie Swain, I hope you and your family are doing well, and I thank you for your mentorship and your leadership while I was in the U.S. Army Recruiting Command, because I wouldn't be sitting here if you never said to me, "Something's going on, but I don't know what it is yet, but something's going on." In that same shuffle, Staff Sergeant or Sergeant First Class Fred Miller. Loved to ride Harley Davidsons, wanted to live in a camper in the parking lot because it was cheaper and he would save some money. I salute him on this Veterans Day. He's a good friend. I'm still in touch with him. He's kind to everybody that he meets. He sweats a lot, but he's amazing. Specialist Timothy Natale. Specialist Timothy Natale. This is one of the most comprehensive, knowledgeable, diverse, and agile soldiers I've ever met in my lifetime. Him and Jesse R. Quant were probably the go-to soldiers of my entire career. They never complained. They got after the task. They did more than what was asked of them. They used critical thinking in order to solve their problems. They did everything they could to exhaust solutions before even coming to me, not because they didn't want to, but because they wanted to solve it on their own. And I throw them in the same basket. They're amazing people with amazing drive, and I will never meet two other people like them in my life. Timothy Natale not only is an author, but he is a motivator on social media, and he also puts every single person above himself, and he utilizes an injury that he sustained while in service in order to give that experience and those lessons to people who need it and to people outside of himself. And I respect that more than he will ever know. Timothy Natale and Jesse Arquant, happy Veterans Day. Chuck Pomelier. Chuck Pomelier is also one of the hardest workers that I ever met. He's a 15 Papa, and you know, he struggled a lot, and so did I. So we kind of have that in common. He suffered a lot of loss, as well as I did, and we had to find ways to deal with it. And we didn't do it in healthy ways a lot of times, but we did help each other get through it, and I respect him, and I respect the family that he's built, and I say, man, I hope you're doing well. My hat's off to you. Jason R. Speede was the first sergeant that I knew in 316 Field Artillery at Fort Hood, where I was a E5, a Sergeant E5, acting as a platoon sergeant, and he allowed me that grace, and he allowed me a lot of latitude within my leadership, and he also helped cultivate me as a young leader, and I salute him on this Veterans Day. Daniel Ethridge is also an amazing human being, also a 15 Papa who I believe reclassed from 11 Bravo Infantry. And at first he struggled. He learned a lot of lessons the hard way, but he has built himself a career that is impeccable, and he does it with integrity. And he's also an Army recruiter. So if you're looking to join the U.S. Army, look him up, Daniel Ethridge. Specialist Dorothy Goebel. I served with her also with Timothy Natale, and they all go hand in hand. Same with David Deason. And you know, these are a group of soldiers that you don't come across too often, and I think that they deserve a lot more credit, and their service will never go unnoticed by me. And I appreciate them, and I hope the people around them just give them a quick thank you and move on about their day, because they're very humble people. And you know, I will ramble on, so I'm gonna move on. Sergeant First Class Rudy Salas. This was a guy where you went into the office, he had music playing all the time, and it was never like distracting music. It was always like 60s, 70s, and you know, he just dug that stuff. He drove a Ford Mustang the last I knew him. He was very humble, and he was a tanker. Same with Guy Henson. They were tankers. And Sergeant First Class Rudy Salas was a person who was quiet for the most part, but he was assertive, and he knew how to motivate soldiers, and he knew how to lead them in the right way that was conducive to their career path, as well as taking care of everybody that he knew left and right of him, regardless if he liked them or not. And I always found that to be a trait that was respectful and that could be emulated. So Sergeant First Class Rudy Salas, my hat's off to you, brother, and thank you for your mentorship. I'll throw in Master Sergeant Johan right there, because he's just a cool guy. I met him when I was on the tail end of my instructing career. He was always happy. He knew how to motivate soldiers, and I meet soldiers to this very day who talk about Sergeant First Class Johan. So you got to be doing something right, brother. I salute your service. Hats off to you. Mike Holland, Eric Lipton, Eric Ludwig. I met you guys all in Korea, and I loved serving with you. And you guys you have cultivated families, and you have successful careers going on in the civilian life sector, and I appreciate your service. And if no one ever tells you today, thank you. And thank you for being my friend while I was out there and allowing me to be a part of your lives, and our service together will never be forgotten. Jeffrey Peters. I know Jeffrey Peters here in Baumholder, Germany right now, and he was my platoon sergeant when I was here in 2000, when I got here in 2000. Jeffrey Peters is an impeccable person who always has a smile on and knows how to motivate soldiers, and I appreciate him for all his leadership and mentorship during my career. Some amazing civilians that I met in my career. One who saved my life to no end, and I will always be indebted to her, and I'm always grateful that she was a part of my life, and that My higher power put us together for a purpose. I can't remember her last name, but I hope she sees this. Vesta is a counselor, or was a counselor, at Lynch Regional Medical Facility in the addiction treatment ward. She helped me to no end see that there is better life for me and my wife without alcohol in it, and that I can cope with things from my childhood as well as some trauma from service without alcohol. And for that, I am forever truly grateful for her to be in my life, and I respect the hell out of you. Happy Veterans Day. Even if you're not a veteran, you served service members to no end. I'm gonna throw these last ones out there and hopefully they know who they are. Sheila Albers is also a person who saved my life, and not only saved my life, she saved my career in the United States Army. And I am also forever grateful for her services and for her vulnerability and sticking her neck out there for me, because if not for her, I literally wouldn't be sitting here right now. And I am forever grateful for that. Again, thank you so much for serving service members, Sheila Albers. Dorothy Young, my wife. Yeah. Norbert Young, my father-in-law, who saved my ass quite a few times. My son Noah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him, because without him, I'd have no motivation to be doing the things that I do here on YouTube. And he has cultivated and grown to an amazing adult. He's 18 now, and I love him to death, as well as all of you that I served with. First Sergeant Poindexter, awesome man. I never seen one man make 10,000 people sit down with one M9, ever. Demetri Cromwell, she just had a birthday. If you see her, thank her for her service. Michael Jimenez, Carly McCullough, Lisa Feller, Decker Blevins, Matt Mattingly, Jacob, Susan Ward, Gail Pershaley, Gail Pershaley, Sam Pershaley, Nina Atman, and my father, Wayne Dornbos Sr. Everybody here and more that I can't remember, but many others, played an integral part in my service. And on this Veterans Day, folks, I salute you. And if you are currently in uniform, you're not forgotten. And if you are prior service or retired, thank you for your service. Don't forget that you are loved and you're not forgotten. There are links below if you suffer from substance abuse or addiction problems, as well as if you are thinking about hurting yourself, folks, reach out. The VA has amazing programs. And guess what? Life is a garden. Dig it. Thank you for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one.